Or are we?
No.
One that has to carry that, right? You're the one that has to carry the weight. And the weight is heavy because it's everybody's motivation. It's everybody's excitement. It's everybody's joy. It's everybody's passion. You got to carry all of that. And that motivation is kind of weighing on you, right? And if you notice that your team is sort of in a blah place, like anybody notice the blah? The word we use is meh. I think that came from The Simpsons. I don't know, but it's people are kind of in this meh place. Like, I'm not really super motivated or excited. You notice that their motivation has this massive disruption to their focus. Like anybody noticing that? You're like, yeah, I'm noticing these things. And I'm also noticing this in me too. They've cut back on their Young Living business significantly. Like you've noticed that. Anybody notice that their business, people are just cutting back on their business significantly. And you're like, yeah, it's the website, or yeah, it's the Young Living's doing this, or it's COVID, or what are the things that leaders have checked out? Like what have you chalked it up to? What have you said? Like, what is it? Is it the website? Is it what is it? Tell me what you're thinking it is. Throw it in the chat. Why do you think this is happening? There's just a banner up here. I'm curious as to what you think it is. Issues with customer service, overwhelmed with life. Yeah. People leaving for Q Sciences, the pandemic, website. Yep. Everyone's exhausted from being hypervigilant for the last year. Okay, Myra, interesting. We'll talk about that because we were wondering the same thing. Like we're all about mindset, right? So we're in mindset mode. We're trying to figure out what's going on. What's the mindset of people? Why are people in this space? What the next step is, exhaustion, people are paralyzed. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about this. I mean, we dug in for the last year. We've really dug in and researched and tried to figure out, we got in and figured out what's going on with people. What's this exhaustion? What's this paralyzation? What's this space? Hey, Denise, there's Amanda and Katie. You guys are welcome to come on video. We'd love to see your face. So people's excitement. Tell me what people's excitement is for 2021. Like, what's their excitement? Are they telling you, oh my gosh, I am so excited. I cannot wait to make my business rock and roll. Like, this is going to be the greatest year. Remember 2020, all the memes in 2020, 2021, bring it on. Like, we can't wait. This is going to be so exciting. This is going to be the greatest thing ever. And then 2021's here. And you're not necessarily seeing any motivation rise. We're not seeing it, right? We see this joylessness, this aimlessness. Do you notice this in your team? Sort of a joylessness and like, I don't really have an aim for moving forward. There's Anna. Hey, Anna, welcome. It's almost like they put themselves on hold and they're waiting for something good to happen. Like, when's that something good going to happen? Like, I just need something amazing to happen. When's it going to happen? Yeah. Do you notice these things in your team? And more importantly, maybe do you notice them in you a little bit? Like, hey, yeah, I see my team showing up like this, but I also see myself showing up a little bit like this. So what's happening? After all of our research and all the people we've worked with, oh my gosh, I can't even, over the last year, a ton, and all the research we've done and all the work we've dug into, here's what we found. The concept is called languishing. So what's really happening is languishing. Now, the term was coined by a sociologist named Corey Keyes. He was struck that all these people weren't depressed. Like, he didn't see all these people in a depression, but he also saw these people not thriving, and he coined this term languishing. Languishing is a sense of stagnation, an emptiness. It feels like we're muddling through the days, looking at life through sort of this foggy windshield, right? And it just might be the dominant emotion of 2021, unless we do something about it. So it's the void between depression and flourishing. Because think about it, in the early days of the pandemic, it's likely that your brain's detection system went on. Your team's brain detection system went on. And it was the amygdala, right? You know, the amygdala, the part of the brain that creates fight, flight, or freeze. It kicked into gear and went, oh my gosh, like, watch out. We gotta adjust here. It went on high alert. It went into fight, flight, or freeze. No matter what your opinion of what was happening, what was going on around us impacted us. And it took us into another space for sure. And as we learned what worked for us and what didn't, we got routines. We started to develop different routines and what was showing up in our routines. And, you know, that sense of dread kind of went down. We didn't have that massive sense of dread. We didn't take on that sense of dread. But the pandemic's dragged on. Like, it's still around. Like, you might go, it's not going on in my life, but it's still going on in the world around us. And that's acute state, right? Because it's dragged on, it's created this acute state of anguish. And it's created this condition called languishing. And it's just not being motivated. It's not being excited. It's the search for bliss in a bleak day. It's connection in a lonely week. It's purpose, doing things on purpose in this perpetual pandemic. So how does this show up for you? And how do you see it in other people? How do you see this showing up in your life? How do you see it showing up in your team? We noticed it on our end because there was this massive, we have our assessment. I know some of you have taken our assessment. If you haven't, you can take our assessment at any time. But this assessment measures what's going on with brain and what's happening in our brain. And we noticed that our joy in a journey, that's the specific section in our assessment, the joy in the journey scores were dramatically dropping. Like, they were like, they'd gone from the average of 75 to like 61. So people's joy in the journey was dramatically diminishing. And I was saying, what was happening must be the pandemic. Well, is it work? Is it their business? Is it it's all of it. It's this languishing concept. So what do we do about it? That's the key. We know it exists, but here's the awareness about it. It's not your website. I work with other companies who have struggles with their website. I work with other companies that have issues with their products not showing up on time. They're experiencing the same thing. Okay. So I have companies that I work with where their website works beautifully. It works wonderfully. All products are arriving on time. They're having no issues, rarely. Same thing. So the concept is languishing. I don't want you to go into some weird space and say, hey, this is happening over here. There might be this draw to Q Sciences because they're experiencing languishing and they need something new. They need a sense of progress. That's key. To get out of this space of anguish, they've got to have some sort of sense of progress, whether that's emotionally, mentally, physically, some sort of sense of progress. And you're like, well, they're not seeing it in their business because they're not doing anything. Well, yeah, because of this exposure to this languishing, because it's chronic. And here's what's scary about it. It's this dull effect. So it's got this slow rolling effect. It's like if you took a knife and we cut this tomato, right? After you cut that tomato, that knife dulls a little bit, but we're not aware of it. We cut another tomato and another tomato, and 150 tomatoes later, we recognize that, maybe this knife isn't as dull. But think about that 150 tomatoes between that. That knife was dulling that entire time, and it never cut that tomato as well as the first time. That's the impact languishing has. It's the slow, dull effect that it has on people. And they're not even aware of it. They're not even recognizing it. They're not even noticing their own pain. Couple of things. We got to get the sense of progress back in them, right? We got to get some sense of progress. Here's the second thing we got to get. We got to get them in a state of flow. Now, you go, what's flow? Flow is the concept of being 100% present. And I mean like being in the moment. If you've read the book, The Rise of Superman, you know what I'm talking about. The Rise of Superman is the book about all the adventure athletes and why they do what they do. Why do they ride 60-foot waves? And why do they climb 3,000-foot rock walls? And why do they do these things? They do these things not for adrenaline. They do these to get into a state of flow. Because what happens is their brain shuts everything else off and it puts them in the present moment. It gets them 100% focused in the now. And they get into the sense of flow. And it's where this perfect chemical, brain chemical cocktail happens. The right amount of norepinephrine, the right amount of serotonin, the right amount of dopamine. It's like this perfect cocktail, and they feel amazing in that moment. They're like, flow, this feels incredible, right? And sometimes it lasts for days and even weeks later, this sense of flow. So flow is critical, getting into the moment, the present moment, getting into the now. They start thinking about the future. It's like, think about right now, what are you going to have for dinner tonight? How many of you are like, I am so excited to think about that? That is so exciting. Or you're like, oh my gosh, like, do I really have to think about what I don't even know what's open? And even if I start thinking about what's open, I'm not even sure do they take reservations? Are they going to be too crowded? Is everybody going to want to sit on the patio? Like, I don't know. Am I going to go to the store? Like, how many of you are just in that place around dinner? And so taking people out into the future is a dangerous space right now. And you think about it. If you're taking people out too far, hey, you want to rank up? Hey, the month's almost up. Hey, and you're sending these things out to people and they're like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Like, yeah, maybe. It's kind of like that thought about dinner tonight, right? It's not very exciting. And it's this sense of languishing. Listen, this was a problem. Staying in the present moment was a problem before the pandemic, right? We checked our phones on average 170 times a day. And 80% of those times we checked our phones, there was little or no value to them. Each time we check a phone, it averages 3 to 5 minutes. You do the math. I mean, that's a lot of time spent not engaged, multitasking, doing things that are distracting. So you can imagine where people are today, right? Where are people today? If they're checking their phones, I don't think people have stopped checking their phones. I think they're lingering longer, and they're maybe they don't have the FOMO they once had because they're like, there's not that real excitement anymore, right? But they've got to experience this feeling of some sort of presence and in the now. They've got to get into a sense of flow to get out of languishing. They got to have a sense of progress, and they've got to have a sense of community. Community is absolutely critical. And you're like, I know I'm inviting them to everything, right? I'm inviting them to all this stuff, and I'm having them show up to the stuff, and we're doing retreats, and we're doing events, and we're having all these things we're trying to get people to show up for, and they're not showing up for it. And you're like, I know everybody's sick of virtual. No, everybody's not sick of virtual. What everybody's in is languishing. So it's not that they're sick of virtual. It's not that they're sick of Zoom calls. It's not that they're sick. They may be sick of the content on some of the Zoom calls. I don't know. But it's not that they're sick of this. It's not that they're having problems with the company. It's not that orders are, those are small things that companies deal with. Companies always deal with these things. Over the last 20 years, we worked with over 1 million people. We've worked with over 35 network marketing companies. Do you think other companies have experienced some problems in the past? Yes. It's part of the nature of a company. It's part of the growth of a company. Now, I know you might be frustrated with some of the things that are going on. I don't work for the company, so I'm not here to tell you to believe a certain thing. But what I want to show you is that it's this languishing concept that's really having the massive impact. That's it. This is what's impacting people. This is the main force. Community. We got to have community. Something where people are moving towards together. And look, I get it. It's like, how do we do that? Because I'm already trying to get them to show up to everything and they're not showing up, or I'm not getting an interaction. Don't give up. That's my statement to you, is that don't give up. Keep working on building community. And you're like, I don't want to build community. I'm like exhausted by trying to get them to do something. You would only be exhausted if you're tied to some expectation where you're thinking so many people are going to show up. Like today, I put this out to every diamond. And there's, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people out of how many people? I could be like, what's going on? I know what's going on. Languishing, right? People are like, what's he going to talk about? Another call, like another, what's this going to be about? I don't know, like some motivation thing. Is he going to talk about how to get my team motivated? I've already heard it all, done it all. I'm busy doing other things. I don't think I'll join today. So I know what it is. It's languishing. So I don't take it personal. So I'll do another call and another call and another call, because here's what I know. I want to do it out of a sense of contribution. Let me ask you guys right now, what's your motivation? What's your motivation to build your team right now? What's your motivation to get your team moving? Is it just to get results, or is it to get them in a state? Is it because you want to contribute? Is it because you want significance and you want results? Is it because you want certainty in your life? Right? As we talk about the 6 human needs, some of you that have done coaching with me or been to some of our events, you know about the 6 human needs. Why are you doing it? What's your purpose? If it's out of contribution, if it's out of you truly want to help, that's a way different motivator than I need significance, or I need certainty, or I need results, or I need people just to show up, or I need a sense of community, right? Those are different motivators. What's your motivator? What's driving you to interact with your team? What will drive you every day to have some sort of community? Listen, this danger in this languishing, is you might not even notice that doling, right? That dwindling drive, right? It's like the knife. You don't even notice it. You don't catch yourself. People don't catch themselves slipping into this solitude, slowly moving into solitude, the lone wolf, right? It's almost like people are indifferent to their indifference. I'm indifferent to my indifference. When you can't see your own suffering, you don't seek help or even do much to help yourself. When you don't notice the blade doling over time, you don't go sharpen the knife. It's just not something you do. You wait until it's so dull and it's like can't do anything. And then you're like, I need to sharpen this knife. What if people are in that space? They don't even recognize it's been so slow. They don't even recognize their own danger that they're in, their own issue. In fact, it's interesting. According to the World Health Organization, they have a prediction. By 2030, the major dilemma in every country on the planet, the major dilemma, not world hunger, not people owing other people money. It's not an economic thing. It's not any kind of, it's not what you might think it would be. By 2030, their prediction is depression will be the major dilemma. It'll be the major issue by 2030 in every country, right? It'll be the number one cause of burden to every country, depression. And how much of it is this languishing that we're experiencing now? Again, we were in this heightened level state, and then the pandemic went on, and it's still going on. And it has this doling effect. Again, progress. We got to get progress. We got to get flow. We got to get community. Now, I don't say those things because you're like, oh my gosh, what do we got to do? I got to get all these things happening. Stay with us. I have a solution for you. I have help. Help is on the way. That's why we're doing this. And that's just a prediction, right? I'm not always a big believer in prediction. I think that you get to absolutely change prediction. You get to alter prediction. I remember I was given a prediction once, and it was a very high prediction. And it was around my health. And it was a 96% chance that I was going to have this disease was going to show up in my life. And I'm like, well, I have something to do with that 96%. I have something to do to impact that 96%. And I think we have that in us too, right? We have something to do with that. Gratitude, I think, is a massive component, right? That's in everything we do. Gratitude. We got to instill some sort of gratitude. And I think human beings right now are not practicing gratitude. I think human beings have moments of gratitude, but I don't think they're practicing gratitude. You see the difference? And a practice of it. You're like, yes, I do a gratitude journal every day. That's a practice, right? Even though it might be, small, it's still a practice, but a practice of gratitude, something we do daily. I think that's critical to get into flow, to get into community, to get into that sense of progress. I think it's absolutely critical. Gratitude. How do we tap into gratitude? There's a concept called have, do, be, and I won't dig into it too much, but those of you that have worked with me know this process where you reverse it. And I think it's a really critical component. Let me give you what this looks like. So right now, I want you to write the words have, H-A-V-E, and underline it. What do you want to have right now? And let's just say right now you had total team motivation, total excitement of your team started moving. They started doing something. They started shifting. Have. Let's say that started that started happening. You started to have that in your business. Now I want you to write this. Write the word do. And maybe even part of have is RCD or Crown Diamond, or maybe some of you are going Diamond Platinum. You're moving in and out. You're like, I just want this solid sense of diamond. I don't know what that is for you. Maybe it's just everybody moving, everybody on your team. But if you had that, what would you be able to do? Write the words D-O. What would you be able to do? What would you be able to do? And some of you are like, stress less. Go and throw them in the chats. What would you be able to do? If you had everybody on your team roaring and making stuff happen, what would you be able to do? Be able to go work with your team in other ways, probably, right? You'd be able to what? What would you be able to do? If your team was really functioning at a high level, what would you be able to do? Help more people, stress less, travel to teach. Yes, very good. What else? Give more, right? What else? Oh, I can't. There's a banner up here, so I can't see it. Sorry, Katie, I'll read yours in a minute. Less stress, travel freely, not be concerned. Stop feeling badly that my people are frustrated, disappointed about not succeeding. Yes. What else? What would you be able to do? Bank balance? Is that right? Bank balance? Focus on other things that are more fun. Yes. You'd enjoy life more. Now, watch this. Write the word be, B-E. What would you then be? You'd have more time to develop other projects for my team. I want to launch. Yes. Good. That's good, Leah. What would you then be? How many of you, if you had this and you were able to do this, you'd be free? Like free. You'd be free. You'd be more joyful, happy. Yes. More fulfilled. I always hear the word free. Yep. What else would you be? Excited. You'd be motivated. You'd get out of languishing, right? What else would you be? I would be what? What would I be? What would you be? More engaged, more confident, less worried, more motivated, inspired. Yes, 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 yes. What else? What else would you be? I'd love to see it. Throw it up in the chat. Lighthearted. That's good. Yes. Less irritated, right? Less frustrated. Maybe more focused on contribution. Again, where's your focus? Where are you motivated? Contribution? More present with your family. Yes. Happier. Break happiness down. Like, what is that happier? So happier would be what? You'd experience more gratitude, right? gratitude, love, excitement, passion, inspiration. How many of you would have more inspiration? Here's the breakdown, guys. You're relying on your team in order to feel all these things at the level that you are. You're relying on something outside of you to experience these things at this level. If only I had this, then I would then feel this way. And maybe some of you are like, nope, I feel those way. I feel those things without it. That's the place we want to get to. But if you're in a space that says I have to have those in order to be these things, you're relying on them. Now, all of a sudden, it's up to everything outside of you to experience these things. What if you reverse these? What if you focused on the be and said, I'm going to focus on being these things without anything outside of me happening? I'm just going to focus on being this. If I be this, happier, more gratitude, more present, motivated, inspired, then I'll do what's necessary to have what I want. What if part of the cog in the wheel is you? And I don't say that so you go into shame. I don't say that so you go, I'm responsible for all these people. Languishing is what's responsible for all these people. But what if part of some of this stuff that's going on is that you maybe don't have that inspiration or excitement happening? Maybe you're not focused on your B's. You're so focused on the haves, and that's outside of you. And then you're waiting for those things to happen outside of you before you're going to be these things. Yeah, Cody Lynn. So this adrenal crisis, adrenal fatigue is what? The source of it is cortisol and adrenaline. That's the main source. That's the main cause. What is that? Stress.
I'm on a call.
Right? That's absolute stress, 100%. So we know stress actually creates cortisol and adrenaline. And oh, hang on a sec. Sorry, Katie, we could hear you for a minute. You're like, kids, what are you doing? I know it's summer, right? So yeah, it's like, what if we reversed it and focused on the B's? And the B's were where we focused first, right? That's where we focused. And then we do what was necessary to have what we wanted. You can have a massive impact on them. You can, but it's not your sole responsibility. And I want to help you with that. So I'm curious, what's your plan? Do you have a plan for what's going on with your team? Or are you waiting for something good to happen? Are you waiting for the website? Are you waiting for corporate to get things moving? What are you waiting for? Or are you taking action? Are you doing something? What's your plan? Because what if nothing, and I mean, what if nothing changes? Can you live with it? And that's the question. So how many of you would like to see some massive changes? And that's a stupid question because I know you want some changes. You're like, yes, I want to see some shifts. You want to see your team wake up, be aware of this dullness. Like, I'm aware of the knife's dull. Like, it's not cutting tomatoes the same. I need to sharpen it. I'm not content with my languishing anymore. You want to see them do something about it and start working on mastering their emotions. I see people in languishing. I see people stay stuck here. We've seen it for the last year. And it's why we've created a program that's designed specifically with you and your team in mind. And it's called leadership coaching. So let me explain in a little bit more about what it is. It's designed to take the burden off your shoulders. It allows us to be the motivators, the coaches, the emotional lifters, if you will, to give your team the tools that they need right now to help them catch fire. It allows the space to work on what you need to, and whatever you need to is, whether that's growing yourself, taking time to do other things, get motivated yourself, go do something enjoyable, or all of the above. But it's a tool that works, and it's been proven. We've proven it over and over again. And we launched it about a month and a half ago, and we've had some people who have engaged in it. Anna's on the call right now, and she's actually engaged in this program. Her and a few other diamonds have actually engaged in this team leadership program coaching. I'll tell you what some of them have said. I'll let Anna tell you specifically, but Joanna Malone, she said, the team leadership calls have been life-giving to my team, and personally, I felt a lot lighter. It has taken off the pressure in so many ways. The program has given me an opportunity to pour into my team in different ways I've not been able to do in a long time. Ceci said, the program motivates and gives us tools to transform. I can really feel new energy in my team and great vibes. Jill On-Call said, I've been in the trenches with my team, with all they've been, feeling their feels, doing the work, and still saying, what's happening? How many of you are experiencing that? She says, I've done the business work focused trainings that tell me what to do for my business, but I and a bunch of brand partners are still hitting a wall. How many of you recognize that? No matter how many systems you create, you keep still hitting a wall. That's when this opportunity with our company showed up, and I needed to bring in someone who could assist with reaching my team in a voice that wasn't mine. Anna, do you have anything you'd like to share? I don't know if Anna's still with us, but she's live here, and I have something she said, but I'd rather her tell yourself about this program that she's taken part in.
Sure. I can't remember exactly what I wrote when I sent you this, but I was telling a friend right now, we're a platinum friend. I was like, you need to do this with me because she's in my team. And what I like the most about Brandon is he's outside of Young Living, but he has worked enough with Young Living Diamonds to know what's going on. We're not hiring just like a personal coach or a life coach that knows about motivation or whatnot. He actually knows our struggles. He knows what's going on. He's talked with multiple diamonds for a while now, so he gets us. And yeah, I do recommend him a ton.
Have you noticed sort of a different vibe going on in your team and all the teams that are taking part in this? I know when we first did this call, I asked Carol, I said, Carol, how many people do you think are going to show up on these calls that we do? And she said, maybe 50, like the way things are going. And we had over 300 people on our very first call, which you guys were surprised at. And then do you notice a different vibe going on in your
Right? Yeah, people are excited about the calls. I have to be honest, I don't think we can see results like number wise and just big results yet because things take time. But I did hear a lot of great feedback after the call. Like people were excited about it and recommending it to their teammates that didn't make it. Like they're excited about tonight's.
Cool. Yeah, it's tonight. Tonight's our next call that we do, and it's all about esteem. So listen, I'll give you a breakdown on what it is. We do 2 90-minute coaching sessions. And when I say coaching sessions, it's like I've been sitting for the last 30 minutes, but this is the environment you see, right? We literally, no chair involved. Like it's me here in this environment. You get this. We're in our studio doing this. So it'll feel like a live event. These 90-minute calls are not a Zoom call. It's not me sitting on Zoom going, hey, let's do this. It's like 90 minutes full of jam-packed, like as if they were in an event watching us participating in a live event. That's literally what these 90-minute calls are. These 90-minute calls are not me sitting down, having people write stuff out. It's engagement. Like we're doing interventions. You go, what in the world is an intervention? It's where we're working with people and we're like one-on-one working with them while everybody else benefits. It's like if we were to take Leah's stuff on right here and now for the next 20 minutes, and I'd be like, Leah, we're doing this, and you'll all learning from Leah, right? You see the energy change just by me standing up. So we're doing it in our studio. If you saw my studio right here, it's like, it's a studio. Like we built this mini studio in our office. So this is where we do the calls. It's 2 90-minute calls we do. And then we call them laser intensives because they're intensive. They're engaged. They're engaging. We have people engage. I'll have people do activities. They do stuff on the call. Like you can't sit out there with your video off and just hang out. Like we're calling on people. I'd be like, Myra, like, what's this going on? And she'd have to bring her video on and talk. And we're engaging people. We are having them do things together. We are building what's called an emotional mastery. I think there's three things that are going to make changes with people right now. There's three levels of mastery. There's a cognitive mastery. So that's a knowing. You guys now know about languishing. Maybe you already did know about languishing. These guys are going to know about languishing. They're going to get a cognitive understanding, but they've got to get an emotional mastery. They've got to start experiencing it, feeling it. I talked about flow, and I'm like, flow is a state you get in when you're, and it's like, you didn't experience flow. But if I got you to experience flow, if I got you to actually feel flow, you'd feel flow, right? You'd have it, experience it on these calls. And now all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is flow. This is the place I want to get to. We'll have you experience gratitude. We give them an exercise of gratitude. We get a gratitude exercise on our first call for 20 minutes where people afterwards were like tears and just, they felt it. They experienced gratitude. And they're like, I want that every single day. And I said, well, here's the tool. Here's the recording of the gratitude exercise. Practice this every single day. And it gives them this emotional mastery so that then they can get a physical mastery, which is the habits. They get it in their body, now they can experience it. So there's a cognitive mastery, there's an emotional mastery, there's a physical mastery. But first, they got to get it here, right? Which is what we give them. And then we give them the emotional stuff. So these 2 90-minute calls we do here, and they're deep dives. We dig in deep. It's not, hey, you know, let's get motivated. Let's get excited. Hopefully you guys understand the place we get them to. And the intensity we speak to them is over the top. They experience these tools on the spot so that they become habits to them. They get that in their body and it becomes habits. Some of the things, and again, studio quality, right? This is studio quality that we're engaging them in. They don't just get a Zoom call. So they don't get on and go, oh yeah, I'm used to these things. This is where I multitask or check out. And they're here, they're like in it. We have multiple screens up here, so I can see people here and here and here and here, and I can see everybody that's on the call, right? We can see everybody and engage with them because we have multiple screens that we're watching them. Some of our topics we go through, the first one's obviously going to be languishing. We're going to give them the 5 tools to escape languishing and have them experience it. I gave it to you today, but you didn't emotionally experience it. I just gave you the cognitive, the knowing. We're going to have them actually experience it on the first call. Some of the other topics are esteem. So in esteem, they'll get that sense of progress. And every week or every other week, they'll get that sense of progress. Like they're doing more, they're doing more, they're doing more emotionally and mentally. So they get out of this state of languishing. Other topics, coaching. They'll get 40% more cooperation. How to get 40% more cooperation from people, their team, and you're like, I want that. People they're talking to about their business. You're like, I just love them to go talk to people about their business. We'll get them to do that, right? Prioritizing, planning, the power of discipline. Talking about the 6 human needs. Those are some of the topics, just to name a few. Flow. That's a topic. What they'll also get as part of this is a sense of community, because they'll start engaging with each other. In the chat section, I have them engage with each other. And so they get this sense of a community and they start to feel this, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get on this call. As you heard Anna say, Anna said they're so excited for tonight, right? They're excited tonight because last time they got so much, they experienced so much, and then they got a sense of community on top of it. So like, I love that feeling of community, places where people are learning like me and understanding me and knowing what's going on. So that community happens there too. Plus, here's what else we give them. As part of this program, they get to take part in our coaching for next to nothing. In fact, we give them our breakthrough coaching. That is, it's a $7,000 program. It's valued at $7,000. I think the least amount we've ever offered it is $900. So people have come to our events and they've been able to get our breakthrough coaching for $900. If your team, you take part in this program, they get to get that breakthrough coaching for $197. So literally 6 months of coaching with us for $200. Those are those people that you want just a little bit more skin in the game, right? They're like, hey, I want a little bit more. And you want them to have some skin in the game, but they'll get coached with us over the next 6 months for $200, not $200 a month, $200 total. I mean, that's how crazy this is. So they get to take part in the coaching. In addition to the 2 90-minute calls, they get to take part in our coaching for nearly next to nothing. And you're like, for those people that really want a little bit more work, they want to put a little bit more work into it, they have a little bit more skin in the game, that's for them. But it's because of your investment in this program that they get that. Now you go, okay, what's my investment? Now, here's the thing. This is a minimum program of 3 months. Can you hear me okay? Can you guys hear me and see me okay? Oh, okay, cool. I thought I broke up here for just a minute. I'm back. Okay, good. Yeah, so they get the coaching and you're like, okay, what is this? This is a minimum of 3 months, but you can do 4 months, you can do 5 months, you can do 6 months. All of those are an option. 3, 4, 5, or 6 months. Right now, the group that Anna is part of, they're doing a 6-month program. So this is what it looks like. It looks like your monthly investment gives them all of these opportunities. So the monthly investment is $2,500. Now, here's what Anna's group has done. It's $500 in addition to every diamond that decides they want to be part of this. So for example, their group, one person, there's a $2,500 charge, and then there's 5 diamonds involved. And that's $2,500 plus, so that's 1 diamond plus 4 more diamonds, that's $500 each. So that's $2,500, $3,000, $3,500, $4,500. So this $4,500 can be split between 5 diamonds monthly. Does that make sense? Or maybe 1 diamond's like, hey, I'm going to do it, $2,500, and every other diamond that's involved, they pay $500. That's literally what we're offering to you. You could team up with another diamond if you wanted. So you and another diamond could do this, and it would be $3,000 together, and you guys could come in together and split that cost. But it is $2,500 and then $500 for every additional diamond that brings their team in. That's the monthly investment that you're investing. That gives them all of the things we've talked about. They get the coaching for the discount. They get those 2 90-minute calls each month. So I get this as an investment in your team. This is one way to do it. It's one offer. It's one process. It's not the only process. We're here to help. If you guys would like to take part in this, if you'd like to find other people that are interested, you're welcome to do that. Whatever works for you, but we wanted to throw that lifeline out there to go, hey, here's an option. It's working in these other areas. It's working for other diamonds. If you'd like to take part, if you'd like to lift that burden, we want to throw you that lifeline. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick around for about 15 minutes and answer questions. But if you don't have any questions, send me who is interested in us reaching out to you. So if you want us to reach out to you about this program, I just want you to type in the notes, reach out to me. We have other diamonds that want to team up and want to partner up with other diamonds. Maybe that's you and you want more info about that. But in the chat section, just say, yes, please talk to me. Please call me. And we will call you and engage with you about this program. If you're like, I'm not interested, don't type that. But if you want us to reach out to you and talk to you more about this, type in the chat section. Again, like I said, we have a bunch of other diamonds that are interested in teaming up with other diamonds and doing some of this. So if you're interested in that, I would love to chat with you more. Just put in the chat section, please bring me more information. Call me and make sure you put, if we don't have your phone number, make sure you put your phone number in there or your Facebook Messenger or however that is. So just type that in the chat section now. And Michelle will also, do we have a link, Michelle, we could put in there? Okay. So we'll just just type it in here. We won't worry about sending you to a link and creating more confusion. Just send in your info here if you want us to contact you. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions at all? Any comments, any thoughts, any concerns? Going once. I'm interested in knowing more. Okay. You said 2 90-minute calls. Is that per month? Yes, Katie. 2 90-minute calls per month. Yes. What is your name? It's Brandon Barber. Oh, sorry. Oh, essential code. We need your name. Sorry. I love the idea, but it's cost prohibitive for me right now. Okay. And that's where Cody, maybe lining up with some other, if you had like 6 or 7 other diamonds, it becomes, you know, $600 or $700 a month. It's fairly inexpensive when you get other people involved. So yeah, if you want us to help you team up with some other folks, it's a great option. Okay, questions going twice. Comments, thoughts, concerns going twice. All right, guys. Well, it's been my pleasure. Thank you for joining us. If there's anything you want from us at any time or you have questions about anything, email us at, I'll even give you my personal email, brandon@brandonbarbercoaching.com. Uh-oh, I think I lost him. Brandon@brandonbarbercoaching.com. We'll put that email in the link for you. Yeah, email us at any time if you have questions. Email. If you have questions for us. So if there's anything at all you need, don't hesitate to send me an email. Otherwise, it's been my pleasure. And we'll reach out to those that express some interest. We'll see you soon. Take care, guys.
Thank you, Brandon.
You're welcome, Juan.
See you soon.